my name is Lara de Beek. I live in Canada. I'm from the Netherlands originally. I am a coach, a life coach, career coach. So I help my clients create the life they want and to live it confidently. So making decisions that are aligned with what they want for themselves instead of listening to what other people might expect.
I asked you to write a short essay that would look at the project from your professional point of view. So maybe you can elaborate a little bit more on that, and also what was your approach to the text that you wrote?
It was such a strange thing, and especially looking back at it now, the year flew by from when the pandemic first started. Like, I know it was such a strange time because when I look back at it now, I'm like, oh, we were supposed to be traveling. And then it was like, oh no, there is this thing happening in the world and we don't really know how to approach things or what we should be doing. So we actually decided to cancel all of our traveling plans. And then 2 days later, the whole thing went on lockdown. We didn't really fully comprehend what was happening. And to me, especially in the beginning, it was like this strange thing, like everything is the same, the whole world is the same, but it is different. Especially like if I looked at my clients or the people around me, they were suddenly working from home. They were all like in their own space. I think also a lot of emotions happening, a lot of feelings. People didn't really know how to handle it because they didn't know what to expect. Like at first you try to grapple with, okay, how am I going to solve this? Or how am I going to approach this that it will give me a sense of security? Then it kind of like never ended. There isn't like a time frame that you know, okay, next year March 2021, then it will be ended, and we've worked towards that. It is kind of like readjusting to this life that you didn't expect and you didn't want. The world as we know it, or life as we lived it, suddenly changed. People have to come to terms with a sense of loss, I think. In the beginning, I did some coaching calls with people, like I call it the heart sessions, checking in with each other and creating that sense of community and connection online and seeing, okay, so how do we actually feel? It is important that people acknowledge how they feel and then know that the feeling will end. So that is something that is kind of certain. How you feel and how you approach things and how you respond to things happening to you, even though you can't really change what is happening, but you can change how you behave and how you respond.
So you talk about instability or the idea that you really don't know when this is going to finish. It's a little bit different than the other interview that I had because everyone said somehow they adapt. And I think it's interesting for you as a life coach because you actually help people also to get more comfortable with themselves. Yeah, maybe the heart session that you did, it could be similar to also the approach we had with the project of Sociable Object to create a common ground.
With the project, it is also looking at the same things with a different view or with a newfound perspective, I feel. So suddenly you're using things that you didn't, or you rediscover, or you recreate or redecorate like spaces in your home. And then with the heart sessions, I think it is also like you're in your home with yourself, but it is good to look at other people's perspectives or how they are experiencing certain things. And I think also with the book for the project, you get glimpses of how other people experience things or like how people looked at their own things. So it is kind of similar in that way.
This is also what you write in your text. It's basically like we are all in lockdown, but we are still connected and social because of the use of technology. Do you think during this pandemic you had also to change a little bit your role and your approach with your clients?
Like there is this very thin line between coaching and being a therapist or like a psychologist, even though of course as a coach you're definitely not a therapist or a psychologist, but I think the nature of the sessions, it kind of went into that direction a little bit more because people, they had time to reflect on what had happened and they went back a bit more. Normally you are focused on finding solutions or moving forward, but now temporarily the moving forward was a bit like, yeah, what are we moving towards? I think that dynamic really changed. Like a lot of clients were also looking at the possibilities that they would have now that they didn't have before. Time to experiment with certain things or like create different things. I did also notice that coach is mostly like helping you get insights into your behavior, how you respond to certain situation by asking like a lot of questions, of course, and helping the clients come up with different perspectives on how to approach or how to look at their lives and their decisions. There was an increase in people wanting to know what they needed to do. So they would ask advice instead of really staying within themselves and asking themselves, like, what do I want? If there is a lot of insecurity or instability, you do want to create something stable and certain for yourself. If someone tells you what to do, that is like a framework. So that gives stability. You started the project when it was all happening. Like I wrote this text 2 months ago, or that was almost a year after like being in lockdown. I do feel like, and that ties in with, okay, there is no end. Now there is suddenly this end is in view with vaccinations and all of that. People are saying when everyone is vaccinated and everything opens up again, we can go back to the normal. So what are you going back to? And I think like even with the clients I've worked with, most of them, they got a more in-depth understanding of themselves and of what they would want. And I think they also learned to check in with themselves more. And then this accelerated that a bit more with the pandemic, because you experience a lot of feelings during sessions. They really took the time to sit with it and listen to it. Kind of got something good out of it with how they handle.
You have the time to reflect because you don't have things to go to.
Exactly. And I notice indeed with my clients or like the people that I've been coaching with, they were already willing to look at themselves, but now they were even more willing and they were more motivated. So I think like this whole paradox of feelings, and then they're like, okay, yeah, I'm on this journey of like reflecting and getting to know my real self. This even deepened it.